When I was a kid, I was told can't a lot. A lot. And well, it wasn't good in a way. The very first memory I have of a major can't was bacon. We grew up in a religious organization that said you couldn't eat bacon. Well, it was an unclean meat, according to the Old Testament. But at the time, I was a child, and when you hold back bacon from a child, you really got to ask yourself, what are you doing? So then at one point, grade 6, everything changed. Jeph could have bacon. You know what you do to a kid that you said you couldn't have bacon, and then all of a sudden you give him bacon? He starts questioning everything in the world, which is cool, because now that helped me. That helped me a lot. I coach volleyball now, and this is my only rule, because that horrible 4-letter word gets into the back of your brain and your subconscious and turns you completely into somebody that will not learn anymore, which is very negative. So my only rule at camps is don't use that 4-letter word. And so my favorite moment ever in volleyball 4 years ago, we just won the Campbell tournament. I coach at Winston-Knoll Senior Boys, so we just won the Campbell tournament, really happy. Wow, we won the tournament. The next day, I'm teaching grade 9s, or little 9 and 10-year-olds, boys and girls, how to overhand serve. And I give this little girl a ball. I said, yeah, throw it up, hit it as hard as you can, right? And she looks at me, lip trembling. I can't do it, coach. Are you kidding me? And I lose it. I freak out on her. The whole gym stops. What is he doing? The poor little girl, lips trembling, grabs the ball, and I say, come on, I believe in you, you can do it. Grabs the ball, throws it up, and hits that thing as hard as she can. Just barely rolls over the net. The crowd, the whole gym goes wild, and the look on her face, that look, that's why I do what I do. Because she proved she could do something impossible. That day, I could imagine the story she told her parents when she got home. Mommy, Daddy, guess what? I can overhand serve. So I hate that word because it's the only thing holding all of us back. One year, I had an assistant coach call a kid dumb. And I said, after that, I will never, ever allow someone else choose my assistant coaches because everybody has a superpower. I don't know if you knew that. If you don't believe that, too, I got a sticker for you. You have to believe that, though, because we're all different. We're all weird. I didn't fit in as a kid. I was really different. I still am really different. Because I heard a lot of bad things when I was a kid. I didn't believe them, though. I was told can't a lot. But again, somebody helped me believe in different. Still to this day, I believe differently. I wear mismatched socks. I don't believe in cutlery organizers. They're silly. I know you're thinking like, well, Jeph, how do you find spoons? You just grab one. It's so stupid. I don't fold my clothes when I pack for trips. I just pack everything in there because you don't have to listen to what everyone's told you. You can live a different life. But this is what we think. Sit still, stop screaming, clear the lines, put your gum back in your mouth. That last one was weird. For some reason, I drooled with gum. But what is that? What are we doing when we tell somebody that? When we take an authoritative position, when you say, hey, you can't step outside the red circle. What are we actually telling somebody? Am I gonna, oh my God, I broke the rules. Or you're not allowed to give away gifts at TED. Well, here, have one. As adults, we use this as an ego boost. We use this to try to say, well, I'm important. I got to tell everybody what to do today. I have power. But that's not power. I believe in what Oscar Schindler called power. Having the power to do anything you want, but choosing not to. That, to me, is power. Justin, actually, one time after he saw me speak, told me, he's like, you're a growth mindset guy. And I read this book after he told me, thank you, Justin. There's 2 types of people in this world, growth, fixed mindset. Think about that. Some people believe what you were born with is what you're given, that's it. That's your box, that's it. Born dumb, well, good luck. But then Carol Dweck comes around and says, well, guys, we've had this research for years. Did you know there's a study done years and years ago on teachers believing in kids? Did you know if a teacher thinks your kid's smart, your kid's gonna get a better grade? Conversely, if a teacher thinks your kid isn't that smart, they're probably not gonna get a good grade. We've known that for years, but we don't do anything about it. No teachers do anything about it. Well, after today, you can do something different about that. You can choose to believe in people. You can choose not to put them into a little box or say, no, you can't. Oh, you shouldn't. It's time we started believing in people. Because that's what happened to me. Every high school teacher I had asked if I had attention deficit disorder. Because in grade 6, I had a teacher, Jocelyn Davis, that said it's okay to be different. And then that helped me in grade 7. My teacher, Mr. Hall, taught me how to public speak. And he made it okay to be different because he allowed me to talk like Martin Luther King Jr. at the start of my speech. I have a dream. My 4 little children. That's literally how I started the speech in grade 7. and I won regionals. I lost in provincials because the topic was racism. Chinese boy beat me. Not gonna say anything about it. I probably should have lost. But then in high school, I had a coach named Cal Toffin who also believed in me. I also had hockey coaches that believed in me and parents that believed in me and a family that believed in me. So this weirdo kid that never fit in, he was slowly finding a way that maybe being different is the right way. Maybe that's the way we're supposed to live our lives. Maybe we don't have to stay in the red circle. This is dangerous though. If you keep telling people they can't, you're not stopping them from doing anything. You can't tell people that. And if you don't believe me, go coach volley, go coach something, go talk to kids. Because I tell my boys to run that way and they go that way. I tell them to jump, they sit. Nobody likes being told what to do, me included, so we have to choose a different way. But we've known this for 20 years. The late 80s, when we did this Just Say No campaign, it actually increased drug usage. Because, what's the message? Just say no? Well, just say no to what? Marijuana? Well, maybe I'll try that. And it actually increased drug usage. Do you think telling kids don't have sex is a good way to stop kids from having sex? It doesn't work. I had a dad in Saskatoon one time tell me, he's like, Jeph, I know what you're talking about. My wife told my son to shovel the driveway. I go 20 minutes later, he's still sitting on the couch. So what are you doing? He's like, Mom told me what to do. I don't want to do it. Oh, okay. Next day, this smart father, he's going to outthink his son. The next day it snows. Same thing happens. But he doesn't tell his son anything. He's about to go to bed. He said, hey, Dad, what? Aren't you going to shovel the driveway? Dad said, nah, it'll melt. Woke up the next morning and his son shoveled the driveway. And he's like, it works. Stop telling people what to do and challenge them. Give them an opportunity. Telling somebody what to do just inflates your ego. My first imposter. Do you remember this moment back when you were a kid when you learned that maybe the world isn't what you seemed? Grade 8, I got the lead role in the musical. It was like a 67-page script, and I was so excited, then I started reading about how many lines I had to memorize. I thought I couldn't do it. It was impossible. Opening night, I killed it. I nailed it. Didn't make one mistake. And I learned, oh my God, what if the world isn't what we think it is? What if it's so much better, nicer, cooler, sweeter? And then you get into the business world. I go through business faculty, and I learn all about business, and then this is the world. Well, you can't sell it. You can't buy that. I still remember being laughed out of meetings because my business model was flawed, because you can't care about people. Or the other one, picking your own price. Like, actually caring about people say, well, if you can't afford that, what if we can charge a better price? Well, you can't do that. That's not a business model. It's working. Don't believe what other people tell you. He doesn't believe in other people, but he also doesn't think that he's the smartest. If you read The Virgin Way, he says the 7 most used words in his office. I'm not sure. What do you think? That's 7. Guys like this that are trying to invent the future, they don't care about what other people are saying. But those are 2 easy examples. This is my hero. Ricardo Semler wrote this book in 1993. He runs a business that does heavy-duty manufacturing in Brazil in the 80s with a company that has no rules. You don't have a time to show up. You pick your own salary and you pick your own vacations. In 1993, he also said they don't have a dress code. And he learned that when he came in on the weekends, he noticed something funny. Why does everybody dress differently on the weekends than they do in the day? The one weekend he showed up and found that out. The next Monday he said, kibosh it, dress comfortably. Then somebody said, well, wait, what if we lose a contract because you're not dressed up? If somebody doesn't want to hire us because you're not dressed up, that's not the type of customer we want. And in 1993, the coolest part of this book, at the end, he has the employee manual, and in there, Semco Women. In 1993, he was championing women in Brazil because he realized they did not have equal rights. He realized they were going to struggle in the workplace. 24 years ago, this guy was doing things that some companies to this day can't figure out. That, to me, is a leader. We don't want to try new things because this is what we assume. It's 2017, guys. All those individuals I just mentioned have failed much more than we have. You have to get over that. You have to get over being crazy, and when people say that you can't. Think about in 1987, a Jamaican bobsled team. You cannot do that. But the coolest part of this story isn't the fact they went. Go look up this story. Jamaica has sent a bobsled team ever since this day. That means these guys started a movement. They actually did something. They actually changed, and they said to all those people that said, no, you can't. They said, you know what? We just did. That's amazing. Billy Beane reinvented how we look at baseball stats. But I love the Boston Red Sox. The owner says to him, the first mover going through the wall always gets his face smashed in. That's what you do. But that's why you get the reward. You get rewarded for the trouble. As a kid, I made fun of my mom's cooking one time. She's like, just make your own food then, Jeph. You don't say that to a little fat kid. It's like throwing dice at a gambler. So I started making cookies, and I made really good cookies, and I still make really good cookies, but I got to a plateau, and that's all I made. And I never thought I could make anything else. And I still, to this day, when I teach class, I always say, like, I'm not smart at anything. I'm only better than you at one thing, making good cookies. I make a really good cookie. This was impossible to me, though. I always thought banana chocolate chip loaf would be so impossible to make. So I don't know what happened one day. I just had this little voice in the back of my head say, well, try it. And I did, and it's such an easy recipe. Just use too much butter and too much chocolate, you're good. CBBC rule, you can never use too much chocolate, bacon, butter, or cheese. Yeah. So who's the worst person you can say can't to? It's yourself. We do it all the time, though. Well, I can't go out after to crave. No, I don't know anybody going. Oh, I got to do something else. Oh, I can't stay during the break. Stop it. Al Durgis was my favorite professor in university, and the first day of class, he gives us a handout called Pygmalion in Management and the Galatea Effect. Same handout that every Harvard undergrad gets on the first day. Well, you got my attention, Al. Pygmalion in Management is on expectations. Whatever you expect in the workplace, you're going to get. Think about it. It's just like Carol Dweck's book. Just like students, whatever you expect of them, you're going to get. The Galatea effect is on yourself. Whatever you expect of yourself, you're going to get. Telling a university student that was really cocky at the time, that concept was mind-blowing. Because I realized that idea of whatever you want to do in life, whatever it's Tony Robbins, The Secret, affirmations, it's all true. If you can believe in yourself. That's the hardest part. And you got to remind yourself, it's not going to happen easily. I realized this when I started looking through my computer, and to this day, my file for StratLab is plans to take over the world. And my presentation file is awesome presentations. All my passwords are encouraging words to myself. Throughout the last 5 years, I've been slowly trying to tell myself, you can do it, because I don't know who else is going to do that for me sometimes. And then there's the negativity horn. Oh my goodness. Born out of Big Idea Camp 1, we wanted to make sure high school students wouldn't get negative in our office. So the second you get negative or you start gossiping, you get a shot of air horn in your ear, alerting everybody that there's a negative Nancy around and don't talk to them. What a cool idea. Actions speak louder than words. Don't just say we believe in entrepreneurship. Set up a program where you're going to actually start companies and help people. Talk is cheap, you guys. Change has happened for years. When we say can't, when we put our back up against the wall and say, no, that's not right, that's when we actually truly change things. At one point, it's going to get hard. At one point, you're going to be asked to do something when the entire crowd is against you. And I want you to not give in. I know you can, because Barbara Lee did. She's a hero to me. Barbara Lee was a congressperson during the September 11th attacks. 3 days after September 11th, on September 14th, Congress went to a vote to allow the United States military to use any force necessary to rid the world of that terrorist attack. To Barbara, that was very dangerous. That was very scary. That was an open-ended war ticket. So she voted no. She was the only one in the United States Congress that voted against it. 10 years later, when they covered the report again, they said she was the only one that was right. She got over 50,000 hate mail sent to her after that vote. And she was voted back in twice more. So there is still hope for humanity. Read the story. I don't have time to share it all with you today. But my third impossible, starting a company during a recession in the world, and then in little old Saskatchewan, nobody said you can. No one's going to tell you can, but we did it. We're an inclusive employer now. We're a 4 to 40 employer. We have 9 employees, and it all just started with a little dream from 2 guys that wanted to start a company based on caring. We're now starting a secondary company building websites for people for really cheap, hiring high school students. Because we believe in this community. We know it's going to work because, I don't know about you guys, I know the budget came out yesterday. That's a bad thing. Get into the internet. It's good. It's growing. We get to do cool things like Big Idea Camp. So it's a high school camp that we do for kids to teach them about business. Last year was amazing. On the very last day, Eric Dillon, the CEO of Connexus, had his business cards on him and handed them all to the students and said, hey, when you're out of school, call me. We'll find you a job. Wow. We also, this is my favorite project though, Tyler Gray at Carmichael Outreach and our company, we created a strat plan to actually end homelessness in Regina. No, it's not impossible. Stop saying that. Medicine Hat already did it with the Housing First initiative, and last month, the city just voted in Carmichael's moving buildings, and you guys, we are one step closer to ridding our city of homelessness, and that to me is amazing. We're all told can't a lot as we were kids. It's not an excuse to tell ourselves now or anybody else around us. It all takes somebody to believe in you. And if you still If you still don't think you can do it, at Strat Lab on Friday afternoons for the rest of the year, 1:30 till 3:30, we set up a little thing called Learning Friday, where we take people's ideas to market. 2 weeks ago, I had a call from Art, and he had an idea for a mousetrap. Art's 65. He didn't know how to take a mousetrap to market. Last Friday, we set up a Kickstarter, and you'll see it in the next 2 weeks, his Kickstarter. If you don't believe in yourself, we will believe in you. Talk to me on a Friday afternoon. For anything at all, for the next generation, you guys, encourage somebody. Stop saying that dirty, dirty 4-letter word. Thank you.